Hi friends, Dr. Nancy Trimbley here, putting the power and knowledge of your health back in your hands. Today we'll answer the question, should you supplement with vitamin D? Some people can get away with not supplementing in the summertime, some cannot. And in this time of COVID craziness, where we see how intricately interlaced the severity of COVID is with your levels of vitamin D, you need to make sure you look at this. If you haven't watched my video called Optimal Vitamin D Levels, be sure to go watch that because I go through step by step how to get your levels checked and what they should be and what they should not be and how to make sure you're doing the job if you do need to supplement. There are certain people that are going to create vitamin D better than others. And so that means that there's some people that are going to need to supplement more. So one group of people is people that have been on the earth a longer time. Let's put it that way. In their 70s, 80s, and beyond, you're going to want to stay on vitamin D every day. A minimum would be 5,000 IUs a day. Like I said, go back and check that other video to make sure you are at the optimal level to begin with, because 5,000 IUs would just be to maintain your vitamin D. It just so happens is that the longer we're on the earth, the less readily our body is able to convert vitamin D into its usable form for the cells of our body. The other thing is the color of your skin. If you have darker skin, your skin absorbs less vitamin D from the sun. So you are at risk to having naturally low vitamin D. You again are somebody that may need to supplement every day with a minimum of 5,000 IUs. If you are somebody that is larger, overweight, you may need to also supplement, but there's a catch to this one. BMI, body mass index. If you have a physician that does a yearly check on you and checks that, they may tell you. If you work out with a trainer, they may also measure that for you. But it's good to know your BMI because it has a direct correlation in how much vitamin D you need to take. Vitamin D, and let's not even go on the tangent that vitamin D is not really a vitamin. Let's leave that alone for now. But vitamin D is fat soluble. It is stored in the fat cells in our body. So the more fat cells I would have, the more vitamin D that goes from the bloodstream into the cells of my body and then just stays there and hangs out because it's sitting in a bunch of fat molecules and it's happy there. So if your BMI numbers are at a certain level, you're going to have to take more vitamin D. If your BMI is between 26 and 30, you will need to take 1.5 times the dose that I've recommended. So if you're somebody that needs to take 5,000 IUs a day, 1.5 times is 7,500 IUs a day. Just put that in your head. Whenever I hear about vitamin D dosages I should be taking, I need to multiply it by 1.5. If you're someone that has a BMI of above 30, you will need to triple the dose. Triple the dose. So if I say 5,000 IUs, think in your head, I need to take 15,000 IUs a day to get the same result. Now, as you lose weight, you'll have to monitor that and you'll be able to take less, but that's what you should be doing. Now, here's another crazy thing. If you live above the 35th parallel, you will probably need to supplement with vitamin D at least in the wintertime. And you're thinking to yourself, I live on a crawl space. I don't live above the 35th parallel. The 35th parallel is an imaginary line that runs around planet Earth, and it runs through the United States, and above that line, where the majority of states are, has less sunshine throughout the year, but certainly less sunshine in the winter, and below the line, they have more sunshine. So that imaginary line, if you live in the southwest of the continental United States, that imaginary line runs right through the states that form the four corners. So it splits the two states above that line, those are above the 35th parallel, and below the line, below the 35th parallel. If you live in the Carolinas, North Carolina is above the 35th parallel, South Carolina is below the 35th parallel. So if you're living north of the 35th parallel, be sure to take your regular maintenance dose of vitamin D every day in the wintertime. Now, in the summertime, if you can get sun exposure of 15 to 20 minutes, your face and your chest, and this is without sunscreen, people. Don't defeat the whole purpose of this. You need to absorb the vitamin D from the sunlight. It's just like when leaves on trees absorb the sunlight to create chlorophyll and energy. We are absorbing it and our body's creating vitamin D from that sunlight. It's pretty fantastic. It's an awesome thing. So you need to make sure you get that sun exposure in the summertime, and below the 35th parallel, perhaps you can get by with doing that in the wintertime as well. There's one more thing that's going to disrupt your ability to maintain a good vitamin D level, and that is high fructose corn syrup. And this kind of puts a craw on my side because high fructose corn syrup is used in packaged foods, foods that I would call not clean foods. Clean foods are vegetables, fruits, meats, clean foods. Packaged foods contain additives, preservatives, sweeteners. And I talk about these types of things in Stealth Health because I put the food companies in a group that I call the system. Capital T, capital S, the system. The system has been working against us our whole lives to create illness, which then causes us to seek conventional medical care for that illness, which then causes them, the conventional medical care doctor, to put us on a pharmaceutical, which creates a side effect, which creates a need for more pharmaceuticals, and the cycle begins. And it never ends unless you become your own best expert and get out of that cycle. That's what I teach you how to do in Stealth Health, step by step. So high fructose corn syrup has been used in the United States because it's super cheap to create. They don't care if it's good or not for you. They don't care if it's creating diabetes. They don't care if it's destroying your immune system and depleting your vitamin D. They do not care. Interestingly, in Europe, there are some countries that severely limit the amount of high fructose corn syrup that is allowed to be used in foods. And we don't do that in the US. It boggles my mind. And let me not get on a tangent here. But suffice it to say, if you eat a lot of junk food, your vitamin D is going to be low and you're going to be in jeopardy of getting more severe illness, not only from COVID, but from many different things. Vitamin D is a cofactor that works in many, many different normal mechanisms of our body. If you want more information on vitamin D related to health in general, or related to COVID, I got a lot of this information from my favorite podcast for stuff like this, and that is called MedCram. Actually, it's not a podcast, it is a YouTube channel, MedCram. So be sure to tune in if this interests you. So, as always, putting the power and knowledge of your health back in your hands. Bye for now.